What is the problem with this pile of junk? It's not the rusty cam. That was just clickbait. Let's talk about the problem. These are the problem with the Ecoboost Ranger. I'm using this brush as a pointer because my hands are dirty. So I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. This is the original ECU I bought with the Ecoboost swap. As you can see, it's Ant Steering and Ant Steering and Electronics. This is from them. This is the original ECU. When I first did the swap, I plugged this thing in and it fired up, and then they claim that their ECUs will flash with whatever types of devices. They do say that cob access port does not work, but they say that the SCTX4 will work. Now, I don't know if they've ever said anything about the HP Tuners RTD, but I didn't try it. I didn't ask. So, when I first got this ECU, got the truck running, I had a tune flashed on it. I used the SCTX4. Everything worked out great, perfectly fine. After I just put this new short block and all this work I just did to this thing, I plugged this thing in. It fired right back up. And I needed to send a data log at idle to the tuner so he can work on a tune for the bigger turbo and all the other stuff going on. So once I did that, the tuner notified me that the short-term fuel trim on the data log was just showing 0. Now everything was running okay at idle because these computers they have like base parameters in them. So the thing will just run based off of those parameters, even if it doesn't see input from for instance, the O2 sensor to give short-term fuel trim. So once he said that, I realized there was an issue, changed the O2 sensor, still an issue. Then I thought, well, this is all kind of weird. It worked fine beforehand. All I did was unplug the harness and plug it back in on the engine side. So not sure what was going on. Then I had a spare ECU. I had one of these. So I plugged it in, tested it. Short-term fuel trim read fine with the spare ECU. Told the tuner, figuring the ECU, this ECU right here, the original, was bad. Why would this be bad? I believe it was from when we welded on the exhaust. I think that's the only thing I can come up with that would have screwed up the O2 circuit inside of this ECU. So plug in this next one. He says flash the performance tune that was on this one, flash it onto this one, and then data log at idle. I flashed the tune and it comes up. It would no longer start, and it came up with some immobilizer fault code, whatever. So that was it. ECU no longer will do anything for me. So I thought maybe which one of these was a spare, I thought maybe that one was not a good ECU either, whatever. So I ordered another ECU. These are all from Ant Steering and Electronics. $290 each to ship these to the door, which actually isn't bad. So first one, immobilizer fault. Second one, immobilizer fault. Now on this third one, you say, why do you keep doing this? Why would you keep doing it if you think so? But when I ordered this third one, I was now thinking that my SCT device was bad because the SCT device was plugged in the entire time we welded. So if something fried this ECU, maybe it fried the SCT X4 also. So third ECU. And I bought I bought a used SCT device, but a different one that worked or whatever. Immobilizer fault. None of these worked. Meanwhile, I was communicating with Ant Steering and Electronics. They have great customer service, but they do not know why the stuff was not working. And come back to this ECU. This one will still flash. And I flashed it back to stock. I flashed the tune back on it. It still runs. Everything is fine with this ECU except the O2 circuit is bad. So I got an idea, called a company that repairs ECUs. Told them what vehicle it was. They said they can repair those. So I sent this ECU to them. They tested it. They found an issue with it. and then told me that this ECU is not rebuildable. So that was it. Spent 100 and something bucks to have it tested and verified that it was bad, and then they sent it back to me, and no repair. So what am I going to do now? So after fighting this thing, fighting these ECUs and stuff for I don't know how many months now, I want to give up on this thing because it's just, I've spent so much money, so much time, but I'm right there. It's right at the point it runs and whatever. I want to get this thing tuned and finished, but I keep running these ECU issues. So my next option before I go complete standalone, which I don't know if I ever will because that's like $2,000 something dollars. Before I go that far, my next option is there's another company based in America called Gem Sport. They make some Ecoboost swap stuff. They make harnesses and they sell ECUs for 2.0 and 2.3 Ecoboost. They also make all the harnesses and stuff. So it's the same as the Ant Steering electronic company, but this Gem Sport is based in America and their prices are, it's basically double for everything. So just to get an ECU from them and have it ready to go, basically, they charge $650. So if you supply your own ECU, they'll charge $300 or so, or $350, and if you need one from them, they charge you $650. So I sold both my SCT devices because this Gem Sport says that they recommend using HP Tuner's RTD, which I have an HP Tuner's RTD already that I use on my Mustang. So I'm going to buy an ECU from them and have it tuned via HP Tuner's RTD and hope that everything works flawlessly. This has really just been a huge nightmare with all this stuff because that original ECU, I was hoping I was gonna be able to plug it in, start it, flash a new tune on it, and be on the road. But here we are. Don't know when it's gonna be ready. The ECU should be here in a couple weeks. We got Christmas coming up, so that's probably gonna throw a wrench and everything. Yeah, we'll find out. Stay tuned or don't. I'm sure everybody that was watching probably like, man, this guy gave up, sold his Ranger, whatever. I wish I did because life would be easier.